Zep Tepi, the first time, you lie still now, as if waiting for something older than sleep to arrive. In the hush before thought, you begin to feel it, the ripple of time not as a straight line, but as a spiral curling back toward a sacred beginning. In the mythology of ancient Egypt, there is a name for this moment, Zep Tepi, the first time. Zep Tepi is not history as we know it. It is not a date, not a fixed point, but a sacred recurrence. The primordial dawn when everything came into being, before the gods, before the pyramids, before the Nile had memory, there was only the none, the chaotic waters of formlessness. And then from that silence, the Ben rose, a mound of earth, from which the first light shone. From that light came Adam, the first God, who spoke creation into being with breath and intention. This was Zep Tepi, not a past, but a pattern, a moment that keeps echoing forward. To the Egyptian soul, Zep Tepi wasn't long ago. It was always now. Every sunrise, every ritual, every heartbeat echoed that original act of divine emergence. It whispered, you too are part of the first time. You too emerge from chaos and carve your meaning into the world. You rise from unshaped waters and bring order with every word you speak, every truth you choose, every love you protect. In modern life, so much feels mechanical, already written. But Zep Tepi reminds you that you are never merely continuing, you are always beginning. The first time is not behind you, it is inside you. It lives in those rare sacred silences when you stop reacting and instead create. When you forgive someone who doesn't deserve it. When you start again after loss. When you look at the world not as it is, but as it could be. So as you drift into sleep, feel the waters still around you, feel the stillness before the world begins again. Within that stillness, a mound rises. You are not floating, you are forming. The darkness is not empty, it is waiting. And as you breathe in this truth, remember, every breath can be a first time. Every day can begin the world anew. Let it begin now. Wu Wei, effortless harmony with the flow. You are not a machine. You were never meant to grind your soul against the clock, to force your path through walls that do not move. Instead, imagine this, a leaf floating down a quiet river. It twists, it turns, it drifts, it does nothing, yet it reaches the sea. This is Wu Wei, the ancient Taoist wisdom of non-action through right action, but do not mistake it for laziness. Wu Wei is not about doing nothing, it is about doing without force. It means acting in perfect alignment with the natural rhythm of the world, letting the current of life carry you because you trust where it's going. It is a state of flow where effort becomes invisible, like a dancer lost in movement, or a poet whose pen simply knows what to write. In the Tao Te Ching, Lozi speaks of the sage who rules not by controlling, but by yielding. The more you push, the more the world pushes back. But when you let go of control, not out of weakness, but out of deep trust, you become like water, soft yet unstoppable. Wu Wei is the strength of surrender, the discipline of doing only what is truly needed, no more. You know this state. You felt it in those rare moments when everything just clicks, when the words come out right without planning, when the answer arises without strain, when your body moves before your mind tells it to. Wu Wei is always there, underneath your effort, whispering, let go, let things be. And yet, it's so easy to forget, to grip tighter, to try harder. But tonight, as your breath slows and your body releases its grip on the day, Wu Wei invites you back into alignment. There is nothing to fix right now, no role to play, no problem to solve. The river is already flowing. So rest now, not as an escape, but as an embrace of the greater rhythm. Feel how your breath moves without effort, how your heart beats without command. Even in sleep, life continues without your control. This is not passivity, It is trust, a trust older than thought. And in that trust, peace, let go, be carried, and float toward the sea of your dreams. Hasidity, the thisness of everything. You are not a copy. You are not a role, a title, or a category. You are not someone like anyone else. Beneath all your names, your tasks, your memories, there is something unrepeatable, something utterly yours. The medieval philosophers called it hasidity, the thisness of a thing, the fingerprint of existence. Not what makes you a human, what makes you you. Not general but exact, not type but tone. The sound of your voice when you laugh in the middle of a storm, the way light filters through your eyelashes when you blink against the sun. No one else has that. No one ever will. John Duns Scotus used the term to point to the mystery of individuation, that strange, silent moment when a thing becomes not just a thing but this thing. Not just a tree, but this tree, with its bend, its blemish, its twist toward the sky. Not just a moment, but this moment, where your breath meets the night and nothing else exists quite like it. And yet, how often do we overlook this sacred particularity? We chase general answers, fit into general molds, wear general smiles. But the truth is more intimate. Hasidity asks you to notice, not in general, but here, not beauty, but this beauty, not time, but this second. The world reveals itself not in abstraction, but in presence. The way your blanket creases, just so. The rhythm of your heartbeat, slightly off tempo from yesterday. This is the miracle, not that you are alive, but that you are you, now, in this exact form, with this exact breath. So as you rest, return to thisness. Feel the unique weight of your body in this bed, the temperature of the room touching your skin in ways it never will again. Even sleep. This sleep is not like any other. It is your own, shaped by your day, your mind, your soul. Let that be enough. You are not here to repeat. You are here to be, not better, just more truly. And in the quiet of that truth, peace arrives. Sleep not as one of many, but as one of one. Unmistakable, irreplaceable, this. Ubuntu, I am because we are. There is no such thing as a life lived in isolation. Even now, as you lie alone, wrapped in stillness, you are held by invisible threads, memories, gestures, kindnesses exchanged and inherited. You are not a closed system. You are a constellation of relationships. In Southern African philosophy, there is a word for this deep truth. Ubuntu, I am because we are. Ubuntu is not just a moral code. It is an understanding of selfhood that flows outward, not inward. It says, you are made real through others, through their laughter, their suffering, their recognition of your humanness. Without community, you are only a shadow. With it, you are complete. In many African cultures, this idea is not taught. It is lived. A child belongs not just to a mother, but to a village. A success belongs not just to an individual, but to a people. When someone stumbles, Ubuntu doesn't ask, what did you do wrong? It asks, what did we lose, and how can we restore you? Western thought often tells you, stand apart, define yourself against the crowd. But Ubuntu invites something softer, something more profound. It whispers, you don't lose yourself in others. You find yourself there. You've seen it, when a friend weeps and you feel your chest tighten. When a stranger smiles and your mood lifts. When you forgive someone, not because they earned it, but because you know what it is to be broken. These are not accidents. They are echoes of Ubuntu, reminding you that your dignity is tied to the dignity of others. And tonight, even in solitude, you are not alone. Every kindness you've given walks beside you. Every person who shaped you still sings in the background of your being. You are not only your thoughts. You are every embrace, every shared meal, every hand held during a storm. So breathe in now, not as one, but as part of the whole. Let sleep come, not just for your sake, but for the world that moves through you. The dreams you dream tonight might ripple outward. The peace you find now might soften someone else tomorrow, because you are not just you, you are us. And that is enough. Sunyata. The emptiness that frees all things. You reach for solidity, something to hold, something certain. But the closer you look, the more the edges blur. Your thoughts shift like clouds. Your feelings rise and fall like tides. Even the sense of I flickers and bends beneath the surface. In Mahayana Buddhism, there is a name for this soft unraveling. Sunyata, emptiness. But this emptiness is not a void. It is not despair or nihilism. It is freedom. It is freedom. Sunyata teaches that nothing possesses inherent existence, not you, not the world, not even your fears. Everything is interdependent, woven from relationships, causes, and conditions. A tree exists not as a separate thing, but as sunlight, soil, rain, air, time, and space, all gathered into one momentary form. So too with you. Your name, your memories, your identity, they arise, shine, and pass, like ripples in a vast ocean. And what a relief that is. You do not need to be fixed or final. You are not trapped in some static version of yourself. You are spacious, shifting, open to becoming. The more tightly you grip an idea of self, the more pain grows. But when you let go, gently, patiently, you discover a vastness beneath all the striving. Sunyata is not an idea to believe in. It is something to feel. Like when you sit quietly and the boundaries begin to soften. When silence speaks louder than noise. When your thoughts no longer need answers, just space to drift through. It's the peace that comes when you stop holding yourself together and realize you were never falling apart. Right now, as sleep approaches, let yourself dissolve. There's nothing to solve tonight, no role to perform, no you to defend, just breath moving, just the gentle rhythm of being. Feel the emptiness between thoughts, the stillness between heartbeats. That is not absence, it is potential. Within that space, everything is possible. You are not less because you are empty. You are more because you are not confined. So rest, soft and unbound. No walls, no weight, no need to be. Just space, just sky, just peace. Mat, the sacred balance of all things. Before there were laws, before there were kings or empires, there was Mat. In ancient Egypt, long before the world was measured by control, it was held together by something deeper, an eternal principle of order, justice, and cosmic harmony. Mat was not only a goddess, she was the way the universe held itself in balance. To the Egyptians, Mat was the heartbeat of existence. She lived in the alignment of the stars, the flow of the Nile, the honesty of words spoken, the fairness of trade, the kindness between strangers. When you lived with truth, you lived with Mat. When you disrupted balance through greed, lies, or cruelty, you brought Isfet, chaos. Even the gods were bound to Mat. No one was above this order, because Mat was not enforced, it was woven into reality. Pharaohs ruled through her, not over her. Every morning the sun god Ra would set sail across the sky and return to the underworld at night, a cosmic rhythm repeating forever, upheld by her principle. And in death, your heart would be weighed against the feather of Mat. Not your wealth, not your status, your heart. Light with truth, you passed into eternity. Heavy with deceit, you were devoured by silence. But Mat is not just an ancient relic. She lives on in every moment you choose balance over reaction, integrity over impulse. She is present when you pause before speaking harm. When you tell the truth, even though it trembles. When you care for others not for reward, but because harmony matters more than ego. Tonight, as the world quiets and the stars take their places, Mat invites you to return to balance, to let go of the distortions of the day, the excesses, the noise, the harsh judgments, and find the line that runs through the center of your soul. You are not here to dominate. You are here to align. So breathe in with steadiness. Let your body find its rhythm. Let your thoughts settle into stillness. The truth doesn't need to be forced. It only needs space to emerge. That is not a rule to follow. She is a way to be. Sleep now with a heart light as a feather. Sleep in harmony. Sleep in truth. Nettie, Nettie. Not this, not that. Who are you, truly? If you peel away your name, your story, your job, your desires, what remains? Not the roles you play, not the thoughts you think. Something quieter waits beneath it all. In the ancient Vedic tradition, this search for the self follows a path of negation, of unpeeling. The path is called Neti, Neti, not this, not that. It begins with a question. Are you the body? The body changes. Are you the mind? Thoughts flicker and vanish. Are you your emotions? They rise and fall like storms. And so the seeker answers again and again. Neti, Neti, not this, not that. Each answer dissolves another layer, another illusion, until what remains is not a thing, but a presence. Neti, Neti, is not meant to give you a final answer. It gives you clarity through absence. By clearing away everything that you are not, it leaves a space wide and still enough for truth to enter. Not as a concept, but as a lived silence, a felt stillness. This is the path of inward retreat, not to escape the world, but to uncover the unchanging witness behind all change. The one who sees, who knows, but is not entangled. You are not your fear, not your triumphs, not even your thoughts. You are the one who notices them all, the sky behind the clouds. Tonight, as you rest, you can practice Neti, Neti, not as an exercise in thinking, but as a soft letting go, a gentle whisper. Not this, not that. I am not the stress I carried. I am not the voice that doubted. I am not even the breath. I am the awareness that watches it rise and fall. Feel that space begin to open. With every breath, something unnecessary falls away. You become lighter, simpler, closer to the stillness beneath your name. There's nothing left to define, nothing left to prove, just the presence that remains when all else falls silent. Not this, not that, just this awareness, just this peace, just this. Let that be enough. Let it carry you into sleep. Hojo, walking in beauty and balance. You are not separate from the earth. You are not above the wind or beyond the reach of the stars. You walk among them, woven into the same breath that shapes rivers and carves mountains. In the Navajo tradition, this sacred interconnection is called Hojo, a way of life that means harmony, balance, beauty, and right relationship with all things. Hojo is not merely an aesthetic. It is a state of being, physical, emotional, spiritual. It is found when you live in balance with yourself, with your community, and with the natural world. It teaches that beauty is not something you chase. It is something you live. And when your words are gentle, your actions kind, and your heart steady, you are said to be walking in beauty. The Navajo people do not separate beauty from morality. To be beautiful is to live rightly, to speak with intention, to honor the quiet, to leave a place better than you found it. Beauty is not decoration, it is alignment, it is truth. When the world is chaotic, when things fall apart, the goal is not to fix everything, but to restore Hojo, piece by piece. Through ritual, through song, through prayer, through the smallest acts of gratitude and respect. It is not a destination, but a rhythm, a remembering. And even now, as you lie in the quiet dark, you can feel Hojo returning. The day may have scattered your spirit, the noise may have pulled you from your center, but in this stillness, you are coming back into balance. You breathe in, and it is good. You breathe out, and it is enough. You do not need to force harmony. You only need to listen for it and let yourself be moved. Tonight, let your sleep be a prayer for beauty. Let your dreams be footsteps back toward balance. Let your heart soften like the sky at dusk. Walk in beauty, even now, in your bones, in your breath, in your silence. You are not apart from the world. You are the world, made visible for a little while. And in this moment, you are in Hojo, whole, balanced, home. Aini, sacred reciprocity with the living world. Nothing in nature takes without giving. The river flows because the mountain yields. The tree bears fruit because the sun arrives on time. The Andean peoples have always known this, and they gave it a name, Aini, the sacred principle of reciprocity between all beings. Aini is not a transaction. It is not measured in numbers or weighed on a scale. It is a way of living that says, when I receive, I must also give. When I take from the earth, I offer something in return. When I am helped by another, I carry that help forward. Aini is balance, not only in action, but in spirit. Among the Quechua and Aymara, Aini governs relationships between people, animals, ancestors, and the land. It is spoken in the language of offerings, a handful of corn laid gently on the soil, a whispered prayer to the mountain spirits, a bowl of water left for a passing soul. You do not exist apart from these forces. You are not alone in your becoming. Modern life often teaches the opposite. Take more, own more, compete. But beneath that noise, something ancient still breathes in you. A quiet knowing that you are part of a larger rhythm, that true wealth is shared, that real strength is mutual care. Even now, in the silence of your room, Aini can return. You rest because the day has given you much. You offer rest in return, as a gift to your body, your mind, and whatever future self will rise from this sleep. Tomorrow, you may help someone in need, not out of obligation, but because something in you remembers the gift of being held. There is peace in this rhythm, not in perfection, but in intention, in your willingness to live with open hands. So breathe in now, gently. This air is not yours. It is shared. This life is not yours. It is borrowed. And what you give, your kindness, your forgiveness, your presence will ripple outward, unseen but not unfelt. Tonight, let your rest be a form of gratitude. Close your eyes as an offering to the night. Sleep, not to escape the world, but to return something beautiful to it. Teotl, the sacred energy that becomes all things. Before form, before thought, before gods had names, there was Teotl. In the cosmology of the Nahua peoples, especially the Aztecs, Teotl is the sacred energy that pulses through all creation. It is not a being. It is not a place. It is the becoming of everything. Teotl is both the fire and the transformation the fire brings. It is the mountain and the volcano it becomes, the breath in your chest and the silence that follows it. It is motion, rhythm, change. It is not fixed, not worshipped in a single form, because it is all form, and yet it is more than form. It is the divine process through which the world creates and recreates itself. The Nahua did not see the world as made of separate parts. Instead, everything was seen as Teotl expressing itself in endless cycles of birth, death, and renewal. A stone was Teotl, so was blood, so was language, wind, and fire. To live well was not to dominate life, but to flow with its sacred unfolding. And that's what you are too. Not a finished thing, not a still picture, but an unfolding. You are becoming, even now. Your thoughts shift, your breath rises, your dreams shimmer at the edge of sleep. You are not stuck, you are part of the movement. This is good news, because if everything is Teotl, then you are never truly broken. You are simply changing. Even pain is emotion. Even confusion is a turning wheel. And within that turning, there is always a chance for harmony to return. Tonight, as you lie still, remember, stillness itself is a part of motion. Rest is not the absence of becoming, it is how becoming continues. The energy in your body doesn't end here. It simply reshapes itself in sleep, quietly preparing your return to the world. So let yourself dissolve a little, let the shapes of the day melt. Let the edge of your identity soften. You are total in human form. You are the sacred energy of the cosmos, resting briefly in this body, in this breath. No need to hold tightly. The divine is already holding you. Sleep now as the world remakes itself, and you with it. Barzakh, the veil between worlds. There is a boundary between the visible and the unseen. A quiet veil where breath softens and silence deepens. In Islamic mysticism, this in-between place is called Barzakh, the isthmus, the realm between the physical and the spiritual, the world of the living and the world beyond. Barzakh is not death, and it is not life. It is the threshold, the pause between inhale and exhale, the moment in a dream when you're not quite sure if you're sleeping or awake. It is the space where the soul rests and reflects, where meaning is clarified, where illusions are peeled away. For the mystics, Barzakh is not only what lies after death, it is a place we pass through in moments of stillness, grief, awe, or revelation. It is where angels whisper, where the heart sees what the eyes cannot. When you are torn between fear and peace, between holding on and letting go, that is Barzakh. That trembling moment before surrender. You've been there before, in the half-sleep when a memory rises like incense, in the silence after someone you love says something that changes everything, in the quiet after loss, when something in you listens to a world no one else hears. Barzakh is not absence, it is awareness. It is a threshold where the soul catches its breath. Tonight you rest on that threshold. As your body relaxes and your mind begins to drift, you are crossing softly into a deeper space. One foot in the material, one in the eternal. And in this space you do not need to be anything. You do not need to decide or act. You only need to be. Barzakh welcomes you, not as a stranger, but as someone returning to the center of things. Here you do not speak. You are spoken to. You do not seek. You are seen, and in that gaze you are made whole. So let the veil fall gently now. Let the world grow soft and distant. Let the night take you, not into forgetting, but into remembering something older than time. You are not crossing into darkness. You are crossing into truth. Sleep now in the sacred in-between. Sleep in Barzakh, where the soul listens and the silence is full. Yin-yang, the dance of opposites. Light does not banish darkness. It gives it shape. Stillness does not cancel movement. It balances it. In ancient Chinese philosophy, this deep, fluid harmony of opposites is known as yin-yang, the eternal interplay of dual forces, not at war, but in dance. Yin is the moon, the earth, the coolness of shadow, the depth of silence. Yang is the sun, the fire, the brightness of motion, the rise of day. They are not enemies. They are complements. Each contains the seed of the other, and together they form the living rhythm of the universe. You see this everywhere. In the breath you take, inhale, exhale. In the tides that rise and fall. In your emotions, your choices, your body's own pulse. There is no stillness without movement, no strength without softness, no joy without sorrow to contrast it. Modern life often teaches us to choose. Be bold or be gentle, be logical or be feeling. But yin-yang reminds you, wholeness comes from both. From honoring the dark and the light, from moving when it's time to act, and resting when it's time to listen. Even the most brilliant light casts a shadow. Even the deepest shadow needs light to define it. You are not meant to be all one thing. You are not a problem to solve. You are a pattern to honor. And that pattern changes with the day, with the season, with the breath. So tonight, let yourself return to that balance. If your day was full of motion, now invite stillness. If your thoughts were loud, now invite silence. Yin and yang do not fight for control. They take turns, and in their turning, you are carried forward. You don't need to perfect the balance. You only need to trust it. Feel it, gently, in your body, now the heaviness of your limbs, the flicker of dreams rising, the warmth of stillness wrapping around you. Let your breath become the rhythm. Let your body become the earth. Let your thoughts dissolve like mist. You are not too much. You are not enough. You are simply becoming, a wave between opposites, a moment between two eternities. Sleep now, in the arms of balance, held by yin, cradled by yang. Mana, the sacred force within all things. There is a power that cannot be seen, yet it moves through everything, through stone and storm, through blood and breath, through ritual and silence. In many Polynesian cultures, this power is called mana, a sacred force that flows through the world, animating all life with meaning and potency. Mana is not simply energy, it is dignity, presence, weight. It is the spiritual substance of authority, of blessing, of life itself. A mountain has mana because it endures. A chief has mana because they lead with wisdom. A word, spoken with truth, holds mana, and so do you. When you live with integrity, when you honor your path, when you carry yourself like the vessel of something greater. It rises and fades like the tide, responding to your actions, your care, your alignment with the sacred order. It grows when you act with courage. It fades when you betray your own soul. You don't own mana, you steward it. In ancient traditions, mana was observed everywhere, in storms that spoke with thunder, in trees that healed, in elders whose words carried centuries. It was never about domination. It was about presence, about the spirit of something revealing itself in form. And you too have felt mana. In those rare moments when you speak from the center of your being, when your steps feel guided, when others fall silent, not because you shout, but because you are rooted. This is not ego, it is essence. Not force, it is felt. Now as you rest, your mana doesn't sleep. It settles, it recharges. It weaves itself back into your body, like the ocean returning to shore. Your breath becomes ceremony. Your stillness becomes strength. You don't need to prove anything tonight. You don't need to earn your worth. You carry mana simply by being, by honoring your path, even when no one watches. So lie still now, like a stone with stories in its bones, like a wave returning to the sea. Feel the sacred within you. It is quiet. It is steady. It is yours. Sleep in the presence of your mana, and let it rise with the dawn. Dunya, the fleeting world of appearances. This world sparkles. It calls you by name, pulls you forward with promises of success, of love, of control. But just as you reach to hold it, it slips like water through your fingers. In Islamic thought, this transitory nature is called dunya, the fleeting world of appearances. Dunya is not evil. It is not to be hated. It is simply temporary. It is the dream that feels real until you wake, the fruit that tastes sweet and is gone by morning, the applause that echoes once, then fades. It is the realm of the material, where time ticks forward and everything you see is already vanishing. But there's something beautiful in that. Dunya teaches you how to let go. It reminds you that nothing lasts, not pain, not pleasure, not even your name. And in that truth, there is freedom. You chase the world because it glitters, but glitter isn't gold. And the gold that matters isn't in what you possess, it's in what you become. The mystics say that the dunya is a veil. It's not the end of truth, but a beginning. Its impermanence isn't a punishment. It's a signpost. Every fading flower, every broken promise, every wrinkle on your hand whispers, look deeper, there is more. And when you do, when you pause, breathe, and listen beneath the noise, you find it, a stillness that doesn't decay, a presence that doesn't age, the part of you that isn't caught in time. Right now, you are being gently pulled into that stillness. Sleep is not escape, it is return, to a place where the glitter fades and the soul remembers what is real. So release your grip on today. Let the victories go. Let the regrets pass. The dunya has played its part for now. The eternal calls in silence, not spectacle, in breath, not noise. Sleep with open hands tonight, not clinging, not fearing, just trusting. You were never meant to own the world, only to walk through it with wonder and leave with nothing but light. Let the dunya pass and let peace remain. Duende, the soul's fire beneath the art. There is a kind of beauty that doesn't aim to please. It wounds, it howls, it trembles in your bones long after the music ends. In the traditions of Andalusian flamenco and Spanish poetry, this force is called duende, the soul's dark fire, the spirit of raw, unfiltered expression. Duende is not charm. It is not polished performance. It is what happens when the artist bleeds truth into form. When something ancient rises from the body and cracks open the silence. It is the dancer's foot striking the floor like thunder. The poet's voice catching on a word that was never meant to be spoken aloud. It is grief made sound, ecstasy made rhythm, a haunting honesty that refuses to be smoothed over. Federico Garcia Lorca spoke of duende as a power that burns the blood like powdered glass. It doesn't come from talent or technique. It comes from depth, from struggle, from the artist's confrontation with mortality, love, sorrow, and the void. It arrives when you have nothing left to hide and everything left to feel. But duende is not only for performers. You've felt it too. In a song that shattered you, in a moment when you said exactly what you feared to say, in the way your voice cracked when you remembered someone who's gone. It is the soul surfacing. In a world that often favors surface, duende reminds you of the depths. It asks you to feel everything fully, to tell the truth, not the version that flatters. It is not comfort, it is awakening, and that too is sacred. Tonight, as you fall toward sleep, you can still feel it, faint but flickering. The echoes of a life lived deeply, the residue of every time you dared to feel instead of flee. Let that be your lullaby. Not numbness, but honesty. You don't need to perform here. You don't need to impress the dark. Let your breath be rough. Let your dreams be wild. Let your heart whisper what it truly wants. Duende does not need light to burn. It glows in the shadow. It howls in the silence. Sleep now not as a polite soul, but as one who has touched fire and dared to sing. Wu Xin, the 5 phases of flowing change. The world is not built from static pieces. It is built from motion, from rhythms, transformations, seasons turning within seasons. In ancient Chinese thought, this living, breathing framework is called Wu Xin, the 5 phases of dynamic change: wood, fire, earth, metal, and water. Unlike the fixed Western elements, Wu Xin is not about what things are, but how things move. It is a philosophy of becoming. Wood grows upward, fire blazes outward, earth stabilizes, metal contracts, water flows downward. Together they form a cycle of creation and transformation, a map of energy in motion. Everything in life follows this pattern. A dream begins as wood, visionary, expanding. It ignites into fire, passion, momentum. Then it stabilizes in earth, foundation, patience. Eventually, it refines through metal, clarity, precision. And finally, it rests in water, reflection, renewal. Then the cycle begins again. Your body, your mind, your emotions, they move like this too. Some days burn, some days flow, some days feel like stone, and it's all part of the same music, Wu Xin teaches balance, not through control, but through alignment. If you try to hold fire too long, you burn out. If you resist water's retreat, you stagnate. But when you trust the cycle, you find peace, even in change. Right now, you may feel one phase more than others. Maybe your mind is fire, still racing with the heat of the day. Or maybe you are in water, drawn inward, quiet, seeking depth. Wherever you are, it is part of your rhythm. There is no wrong phase, only the next step in the dance. As you close your eyes tonight, imagine those 5 forces turning within you, not in conflict, but in harmony. The fire of your mind softening into earth's calm. The metal of your thoughts melting into water's surrender. Let your energy return to the soil, the breath, the stillness. You are not broken. You are cycling. You are moving through your seasons with grace. So rest now, as water returns. Let it cool the heat of the day. Let it carry you gently into dreams, where new roots will grow. Sleep like earth, solid and safe. Dream like wood, rising toward the light, and awaken, someday soon, with fire again in your chest. Tlamatini, the one who makes others wise. There are teachers who speak to fill space. And then there are those whose words awaken something inside you, something you already knew but had forgotten how to name. In the ancient Aztec world, such a person was called a Tlamatini, the knower, the one who makes others wise with their words. The Tlamatini was more than a scholar. They were a philosopher, a guide, a weaver of meaning. They understood the sacred power of speech, not to dominate, but to illuminate. Through poetry, story, and parable, they revealed truths not with certainty, but with depth. They did not tell you what to believe. They helped you feel what was already true. In Nahua philosophy, to be wise was not to have all the answers. It was to walk the slippery earth with humility. Life, they believed, was fragile, filled with illusions and fleeting joys. And yet, it was beautiful. It was flower and song. The Tlamatini helped others see the divine beneath the temporary, the eternal beneath the changing. You have met such voices, perhaps in books, in conversations, or in the silence of your own soul. Words that didn't impress you, they unfolded you, made you softer, more awake, more human. And maybe, without knowing it, you have been a Tlamatini too. In the quiet wisdom you offered a friend in pain. In the honesty you gave when it would have been easier to stay silent. In the way your presence reminded someone of who they were. The world does not need louder voices. It needs truer ones. And tonight, as your mind grows quiet, the words of the Tlamatini still echo, not to explain, but to remind. That wisdom is not memorized. It is remembered. It grows in stillness. It waits in silence. So listen, gently now, not to the noise of thought, but to the space between thoughts. That is where wisdom lives. Let sleep be your teacher tonight. Let your breath become a soft poem. Let your body become a flower opening to the dark. You do not need to seek great truths. You only need to be available when they arrive. Sleep, Tlamatini. The world will still be slippery tomorrow, but you will walk it with grace. Kawaida, the grounding of a people in purpose. You are not floating through this world without roots. Beneath your name, your choices, your pain, there is something older anchoring you, a memory of who you are when you are connected, a truth that emerges when you live in alignment with your people, your principles, your path. This deep grounding is called kawaida, a Swahili term meaning tradition and reason, the foundation of cultural purpose. Born from the Black liberation struggles of the 20th century, kawaida is not ancient in age, but ancient in spirit. It was forged by Maulana Karanga as a living philosophy to restore Black identity and dignity, not by looking backward in nostalgia, but by rooting oneself in shared values, community, and historical truth. Kawaida teaches that liberation begins with culture, not with reaction, but with creation. It asks, what are the values that make us whole? What do we carry that no one can take? From these questions came the Guzo Saba, the 7 principles of Kwanzaa: unity, self-determination, collective work, cooperative economics, purpose, creativity, and faith. But Kawaii is not only for a holiday, it is a worldview. It says, your life has meaning when it is connected, when you live not just for yourself, but as part of something greater, when you honor where you come from, and actively shape where you're going. In a fractured world, Kawaii reminds you that identity is not isolation, it is relationship. That dignity is not granted, it is remembered. And that the self, when rooted, becomes a force of healing. Tonight, you return to that root. As you breathe, know that your breath carries your ancestors, that your body is not lost, it is part of a lineage, that your dreams are not random, they are woven from a deeper memory. Let your rest tonight be a kind of return to your values, to your purpose, to the quiet, knowing that you belong. You do not need to invent meaning. You only need to remember it. And as you sleep, may Kawaii steady you, ground you in truth, and prepare you, gently, for the work of becoming whole again. Orenda, the power that moves through all beings. There is a force that doesn't shout, but it shapes mountains. It doesn't flash, but it bends the world. In the spiritual traditions of the Haudenosaunee and other indigenous peoples of the Iroquois Confederacy, this quiet, invisible power is known as Orenda, the energy of will, spirit, and transformation present in all things. Orenda is not a god, and it's not magic. It's the sacred breath inside everything. It flows through the wind that bends trees, the cry of a hawk in flight, the beating of your own heart. Every being, animal, river, cloud, stone, human, holds a portion of Orenda, but it is not still. It moves. It can be strengthened, diminished, or shared. When you speak with truth, your Orenda grows stronger. When you act with courage, you send ripples of it through the world. And when you harm or neglect your spirit, the light of Orenda dims, not just in you but around you. Because this power is never yours alone. It connects all things. To live well, the elders teach, is not to control Orenda, but to walk in harmony with it, to speak to the wind, to honor the deer, to greet the morning with thanks. These aren't just rituals, they are relationships. And when you live with respect and intention, Orenda responds, not with thunder, but with balance. Even now, in the quiet of night, Orenda is here, moving through you, even as your body softens into sleep. You don't need to speak, you don't need to move. Your spirit still listens, still pulses, still glows. The day may have left you weary, but your energy is not gone. It is shifting, settling, restoring. Feel that now. Like a current beneath still water, a warmth at the edge of breath. This is not emptiness, this is power, resting. You are not disconnected, you are part of the flow. So sleep now, as one who is carried by wind, by rhythm, by Orenda. Let it gather in your dreams tonight, and rise with you, quietly, when the sun returns. Kalb, the heart, as the seat of divine knowing. Beneath the mind, beneath the body, beneath even the soul as we often imagine it, there is the Kalb. In Islamic mysticism, the Kalb is the heart, not as a vessel of emotion, but as the deepest center of your being. It is where truth lives, where God whispers, where the self is seen clearly, without the filters of ego or fear. The Kalb is not your feelings, it is not your desires, it is your spiritual core. The part of you that can reflect the divine like a still lake reflects the sky, but like water, it must be clear. If disturbed by greed, anger, or distraction, it ripples and muddies, and you see the world as distorted. The Sufis say the Kalb has a light of its own, a subtle flame that grows brighter the more you purify your intentions. Remember the sacred, and live with sincerity. Every act of truth is a polishing of the heart. Every lie, every act of cruelty, a veil drawn over its surface. This is not just metaphor, it is experience. You felt your kalb in those moments of deep stillness, when you knew something was right without explanation, when a prayer rose from your chest, not your lips, when your body stilled and something within you simply knew. And though the world pushes you to live in your head, the kalb waits patiently beneath it all. It does not demand, it listens, it receives. And when you slow down, when you breathe, when you return to silence, it begins to open again. Tonight is such a moment. Let your thoughts drift. Let the noise pass. The kalb does not speak in words. It speaks in knowing, in peace, in presence. You don't have to force it open. You only need to be willing. So rest now, not in your mind, but in your heart. Let sleep be a return, not to ignorance, but to inner truth. The world will call again tomorrow. But for now, turn inward, toward the light, toward the silence, toward the kalb, and there, let peace take root. Tawhid, the oneness beneath all things. There is not one world of spirit and another of matter. There is not one part of you that is sacred and another that is broken. Beneath every distinction, every separation, every duality, there is Tawhid. In Islam, Tawhid is the oneness of all existence, the truth that everything flows from, belongs to, and returns to the One. Tawhid is not just theology, it is a way of seeing, a way of walking through the world and recognizing that the many faces of life, joy and grief, storm and stillness, self and other, are not fragments. They are reflections of the same radiant whole. There is no corner of creation untouched by the divine, the tree by the roadside, the quiet ache in your chest, the stranger's laugh, the rhythm of your breath. Tawhid teaches nothing is separate, nothing stands alone. All is held, known and sustained by one reality, deeper than form, wider than thought. And so the Sufi poets speak of falling in love with everything, not because everything is easy or kind, but because everything belongs. Even hardship is part of the tapestry. Even the wandering is part of the way home. You've felt this before, perhaps only for a moment. A sudden stillness in nature, a flash of awe, a moment of prayer where you forgot your name and remembered your soul. Tawhid was there, not announcing itself, but gently dissolving the walls you thought were real. And now, as the day falls away, you are invited to return, to rest, not in parts, but in wholeness, not as a list of tasks, a set of identities, but as one breath, flowing from and back to the source. There is nothing more to prove, nothing to separate. You are not alone. You never were. You are not lost. You are part of the map. Tonight, let Tawhid carry you inward. Let the illusion of separation fade like mist. Let sleep be your surrender to the one who never left. There is no outside. There is no other. Only one, and within that oneness, you are held, completely forever. Qi, the breath of life that moves all things. You are not a machine, held together by wires and muscle. You are a flow of breath, of energy, of invisible motion coursing through and beyond your skin. In Chinese philosophy, this animating current is called qi, also spelled qi, the vital life force that moves through all things. Qi is not metaphor. It is presence, the warmth in your hands, the pulse of your chest, the way your spirit rises when the wind brushes your skin. It is what gives the body life, what gives thought clarity, what gives action power. It is the thread that connects you to the earth below and the sky above. In traditional Chinese medicine, illness is not seen as invasion, but as imbalance, a blockage, a disruption of flow. When qi moves freely, there is health. When it stagnates, there is pain. So healing becomes not about fixing, but about restoring flow, releasing what is tight, nourishing what is weak, trusting the rhythm of life as it moves through you. You don't need to understand qi to feel it. You've already felt it. When your breath deepens in the presence of a forest, when you move with ease after stillness, when a certain silence makes you more alive than sound ever could. Qi moves in everything: the oceans, the trees, the animals, the clouds, the seasons, and you, not apart, but within. Tonight, as you surrender to sleep, let qi guide you, not with force, but with gentleness. Let your breath become round and slow. Let the tensions of the day release, like knots undone by warmth. You don't need to fix your energy. You only need to stop resisting its return. There is wisdom in this motion, a dance older than thought, a healing that doesn't need your effort, only your trust. So breathe now, not just as a function, but as a restoration. Feel qi soften your limbs, quiet your chest, cradle your dreams. You are not drained. You are flowing. You are not broken. You are moving back into balance. Sleep now like water finding its level. Sleep in the current of qi, and let life flow through you, quietly, all night long. Yukapaha, calling the ancestors through smoke and silence. Not all wisdom comes from within. Some of it comes from behind, from voices older than your name, older than memory, still whispering through the fabric of your being. In the Zulu and other Nguni traditions of southern Africa, there is a sacred practice called Yukapaha, a ritual of communing with the ancestors, seeking guidance, protection, and grounding through prayer and offering. Yukapaha is not a performance. It is a conversation, a quiet reaching out, usually at dawn. When the veil is thin, you speak aloud. You burn incense or herbs. You pour water or traditional beer onto the earth. You name those who walked before you, not as ghosts but as living presence. Their wisdom lives in your bones. Their stories flow in your blood. To practice Yukapaha is to remember that you did not begin with yourself, that you are the continuation of a lineage, that behind every choice, every fear, every gift, stands a long line of lives watching over you. Some you know, some you do not, but they are all part of your becoming. Modern life often tells you to cut the cord, be new, be alone, be original. But Yukapaha reminds you there is strength in roots. There is power in asking for help. There is healing in acknowledging that your journey is part of something larger. 2. You don't need smoke or ritual tonight. Just silence. Just the willingness to listen inwardly. As your body settles, let your spirit turn gently backward, not in sorrow but in reverence. Think of those who came before, those who endured, those who laughed despite the weight. 2. Those who passed on their dreams through blood and gesture and love. You are not alone in this moment. You are never alone. The air around you carries memory. The stillness inside you carries prayer. The dreams you dream tonight may not be only your own. So breathe now, slowly, as if your breath is not just yours, but borrowed from 1,000 hearts. As if the night is listening. Offer your rest as a sign of trust. Offer your silence as a sign of thanks. And sleep now as the ancestors gather close, holding you, guiding you, calling you ever more deeply into who you already are. Kenosis. The grace of emptying yourself. To be full is not always to be whole. Sometimes, healing begins when you let go of status, of defense, of control. In Christian mysticism, this sacred surrender is called kenosis, a Greek word meaning self-emptying. It is the act of making space, of releasing what you think you must be, to become what you truly are. Kenosis is not a collapse. It is not self-erasure. It is an opening, a deliberate choosing to soften, to yield, to allow the divine to pour through you without resistance. In Scripture, it is said that Christ emptied himself, not of love, but of claim, not of purpose, but of ego. He descended not to lose himself, but to reveal the fullness of divine presence in humble form. And so, Kenosis is a path not of grand gestures, but of quiet bravery. It asks you to stop clutching at perfection, to step down from the pedestal of certainty, to strip away the armor that keeps love out as much as it tries to keep fear in. You have practiced kenosis without knowing it. Every time you forgave when it would have been easier to harden. Every time you let go of the need to win, just to hold someone close. Every time you sat in silence instead of speaking just to be heard. To empty yourself is not to become nothing. It is to become available. To love more freely. To suffer more honestly. To trust that what is meant to fill you will come, and what is not will pass. Tonight you are invited into this gentle surrender. Let your thoughts spill out. Let your worries loosen their grip. Let your breath clear the space within you. You don't need to hold yourself together anymore. You don't need to carry it all. The sacred moves best through an open vessel, and right now you are becoming that vessel. So sleep now, not as someone seeking answers, but as someone releasing the question. Let your emptiness be holy. Let it be soft. Let it be enough. And in that still, sacred space, may peace rise to meet you.